Hi there, legal writers. Welcome to this Legal Grammar Redux video series with me, Jill Barton, from the University of Miami School of Law. In this video series, I am going to cover 8 grammar basic topics and 4 more advanced principles that are covered in chapters 19, 20, and 21 in the handbook for the new legal writer. So let's talk about grammar basic number 3, and let's talk semicolons. We have just 3 rules to talk about with semicolons. The first is that we are going to separate items in a complex list with semicolons instead of commas. This is kind of like the serial comma rule, but we use semicolons when we have a complex list. So what is a complex list? It's a list where we have commas within the items in the list. So imagine if this list here was separated with commas instead of those 2 highlighted semicolons. It would just be a mess of commas. You wouldn't really know what the items in the series are. And here I have highlighted the commas within the items. Number 1, indecent, comma, lewd, comma, and then under number 2, we have that clause uttered during a class trip that's set off by commas. So because this is a complicated list, it makes a lot more sense to the reader to be able to see the items in that list more clearly if you separate it with semicolons. The next 2 rules with semicolons are just variations of the same, how to combine what could otherwise be 2 sentences with a semicolon. And the first rule we covered in the sentences video, and that is just add a semicolon to combine what could be 2 sentences, 2 main clauses, a clause with a main subject and a verb, and a second clause with a main subject and a verb. The only thing to follow here is that make sure these sentences are very closely related, and don't just fall prey to writing a really long sentence and combining it with a semicolon because you think it looks fancier. Generally a smaller sentence works better, but sometimes we want to combine 2 thoughts into one, and we can do that with a semicolon. The second way to combine what could otherwise be 2 sentences into one is with a conjunctive adverb. We have a little list here of some of those conjunctive adverbs along with a semicolon and a comma. So here are a couple examples from Supreme Court opinions. This is from a Justice Sotomayor opinion. She has what could be a main sentence ending with a semicolon. Then she uses the conjunctive adverb instead. That begins the second main clause, and it's set off with a comma after that introductory word. Here's another example from a dissent in that same opinion using the conjunctive adverb rather. What's on either side of that word rather could be sentences on their own, but here we're combining them and we're actually showing how they're related. So we're doing a little bit more than the last example where we just combined 2 sentences with a semicolon. We're showing how they are related with that conjunctive adverb, which is going to be helpful and add meaning to your sentence. So that's it for semicolons. I just want to remind all of you that anyone can be a great legal writer. You're taking the right steps just by watching these videos and reviewing these grammar rules. And I hope to see you next time.